Okay, sounds good. check. 1, 2. It's very low. Very, very low. Two. Let me handle the first couple of cuts.
Well, hello there. I am super. Oh, I'm over here. See, you didn't tell me the truth.
Because
okay,
you
that's,
didn't listen to me. I said,
oh, I know, and we need to show the folks at home how it's done by you getting crabby at the cameraman. So well, here we go. We're going live now. I'm so excited because it's Saturday night. What better way to spend a Saturday night than here with you? So what we are going to talk about tonight is going to be fun, but we have some chit-chat to do real quick because it's been a really fun week here. Well, sort of. As everybody that watched my show last night knows, I got a really bad case of food poisoning when we were still in Missouri, right after the show, actually, the next day. So it took me 5 days to recover it. It was so bad. And it was from eating in a good restaurant. So you have to be careful about eating fish in restaurants. And Seth, that's what you got sick on too, when the last time you got food poisoning was and it was even at like Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen. Is anywhere safe?
Everything but my wig and eyelashes.
There was nothing left but your wig and eyelashes?
That's it, and I don't wear a wig, so that's troubling.
It's really true, but oh my gosh. So on Wednesday, I was starting to rally pretty good, and we had a visit. We had a visit from one of you. Yes, we did. John Greer made a trip to Las Vegas, as he does every year, or maybe he does it a couple of times a year, I don't know, but it just so happens that we were in town. So, Todd was kind of not, he was under the weather for sure, so he didn't get to meet John, but Seth and I did, and we had a great time. And so he was staying in town, and he had said, is it possible that I could come see the museum and come meet you? And we're going to meet him in June because we're all going to be on the cruise together, and John is coming to the cruise. And by the way, if you were wondering what cruise I'm talking about, it's the Cat and Todd Live Cruise. It's a beautiful princess cruise. It's our second one, and the registration is open until March 1st. So we're down to the last 3 weeks or so. Actually, there are only 28 days this month, I think. Are we in that year? Yeah, so if March 1st is the cutoff date to sign up for the Cat and Todd Live Cruise. If you want to know more about it, I think Ryan pinned the link so that you can see more about it there. Ryan, I hope I'm right about that.
And I just shared the screen of your CatherineHicklin.com. It's right there.
Oh, okay, that's right.
You can see it right now.
Also on my website at CatherineHicklin.com, there's more information about it, but we are going to have a week of a lot of fun together on this cruise ship, and there we go, and we have all kinds of events planned and what kind of craziness we can get into, because we had a blast on the last one, but the last one was only 3 or 4 days, and this one is a week, and it's in the Caribbean and around, and it's going to be awesome, so please go check that out. And while you're at CatherineHicklin.com, before I go on to John Greer's visit, I wanted to let you know that April 26th, I'm doing a fundraiser show. I'm doing a comedy hypnosis show, because that's what I do. And I'm going to do a little mind reading too, but the bulk of the show is a comedy hypnosis show. We're going to have so much fun. I'm doing it for the Four Diamonds, which is an incredible organization in Pennsylvania, and they do incredible work for children and the families of the children who have cancer and other life-threatening diseases and things going on. So this is not my first time doing a fundraiser for them, and Ryan and I we get together and we plan a great show. Kyle's going to be there too, because this is where Kyle goes to high school, and it's actually where Ryan teaches, and it's a great high school, and they raise so much money for the Four Diamonds, as do all the colleges and high schools and organizations in Pennsylvania. Now, just wanted to let you know, if you want more information about that, it's on catherinehickland.com. And you can see all the information that is there. Ryan, are we sold out of all the VIP seating?
We had two tickets left maybe about an hour ago.
Right.
So I don't know what it's at right now.
Okay. So the tickets just went on sale late yesterday, and the tickets are super well priced. For students, it's only $10. For adults, it's only $15. And the theater is at the high school because it's a state-of-the-art theater, absolutely beautiful. Last year we did it in a movie theater that's also a legit theater. But we wanted to have more seats, and we wanted to make sure that we could keep it affordable, and this is how we're doing it. But I'm so excited, Ryan, to play I haven't played in that theater since everything was redone, so it's state-of-the-art sound, video. It's a gorgeous theater. So if you are anywhere near Hershey, Pennsylvania, because it's in Annville, Pennsylvania, and I always use Hershey as a reference point because it's only about 15 minutes away from there, and I promise you it is worth the trip in, even for an overnight stay, because the show is going to be so fun.
Does this mic work okay?
Oh, no. I'm going to ask Ryan, can you hear Todd?
Can you hear Todd?
I sure can.
All
Yes,
right,
I can.
so we're all
Sounds
hooked up.
great.
All right, so for more information about the show, please go check it out. Like I said, it'll be really fun and well worth the trip in, and I get to meet you, and it's going to be fun. All right, now, while you were sleeping, we got home, what day? Tuesday, I think?
Monday.
We got home Monday. I don't remember the trip home. No, we couldn't have this.
Sunday.
I went down Sunday, so it was Tuesday we came home, I think. Had to be.
No, we did our Saturday show.
I don't remember the flight home. That's
We
how
were
out of
sick
it I
and
was.
we left on Sunday.
Well, the show was Saturday night, and I woke up.
So we stayed Sunday. You left Monday morning. That's what it was, Monday morning.
Monday morning. Well, I wasn't right on Wednesday either, but you really started feeling really bad on Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. Then I got nervous that it wasn't food poisoning, that I maybe had the norovirus, because when you started you kind of weak in the stomach. I was, oh no, maybe it wasn't that. So you didn't get to meet John Greer, who came here to visit. And I just want to show you a couple of things from his visit, because you know what? You never know if it's going to be you. And not that many people get to see the museum, so whenever people see it for the first time, it's like me seeing it for the first time. Do you feel that way when you're giving a tour of it? It's almost like you get to see it through a child's eyes.
No, because I think I show it more than you, and I've also been showing it for your whole life.
That's
very,
true.
very,
I've only been showing it for
very, very, very long time.
15 years for me, so
Right,
I'm still
that's
a
a very
newbie.
long time too, though.
That's right. But I do love to show it, because when you give a tour of it, and Seth is really good.
He's getting good.
He's really good at giving the tour. You are really good at giving tours. Let's go to the Seth cam.
Don't have the Seth camera.
Oh.
Didn't have
Oh,
time
no.
to turn it
Okay.
Seth doesn't want to be on camera. Let me be the voice of Oz tonight. I'm fine. I was going to say, as Mae West said, oh, when I'm good, I'm very good. But when I'm bad,
I'm better.
there you go.
There, you're right. Well, you and I gave John the tour. So I'm going to show you a few pictures, everybody, because then you can see it through his eyes. And, of course, me seeing it through his eyes, even though I didn't feel very well that day. at all. I was not going to let that man down. No, I wasn't. So I don't know what pictures you have. Yeah, we'll go to Apple TV. And then there's a picture of John Greer on the Cat and Todd live set. Now, when he walked in here and saw it for the first
He
time,
burst into tears.
no, he didn't. He's actually a really great guy.
Well, that doesn't mean you're not a nice person because you burst into
No,
tears.
I said sometimes people do when they walk in and see the museum for the
Museum,
first
yeah.
time. I can't even tell you how many people start to tear up or cry at that moment. Have you seen that, Seth?
When I first came here, I kind of teared up, but I held it back because I didn't want you to think I was overreacting.
Well, I'll never forget one night I couldn't sleep, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and you were actually living here because you had just moved here. And I got up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I went out to the kitchen, and you were standing in the museum staring at something of Debbie's through the case. And I'll never forget it because you didn't even notice me sit there. You know, you were just so...
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, you were so lost in what you were looking at it through the case. It was a really great moment. But a lot of people, when they walk in and see the museum, they get emotional. They have an emotional reaction. I guess everybody has something that takes them back to a certain moment, and and it's like reliving it. So that is really a special thing. So that was John in our theater. So when he walked and saw the theater, he's like, "Oh my gosh," because it's different to see it in person for sure. You know what you see is just a little piece of the set, and there's a lot more going on in here. Do we have any other shots there?
I do, but I don't have you on that camera right now, so I don't.
Okay, can you put it on the Apple TV? Is that what you need it on? Yeah, Apple TV. There you go. All right, next picture coming up. And there's John and I. I don't know if you can zoom in on it or not, but that's John and I. We're in Debbie's bathroom. And, I said, let's take a picture of it together because I realized that we hadn't taken one all day. So he said, I don't know how to take a picture in the mirror. I said, point and shoot, baby. And there it was. And the next one is there. Now, he took that picture because I pulled all these off of his Facebook because he took that picture because one of his best friends is such a Star Wars fan, and so he thought, oh my gosh, he's going to flip right out. So I wonder if he did. And then I think we have one more. And there's John holding Debbie's Oscar. So that's kind of a great moment that most people want when they see the Oscar. They always can't, believe that they might actually take a picture with it. And so there it is. John, you're a great guest, and we enjoyed having you here so much. Now, I have one more thing I will show you, and I think we're going to have to see if we can get a little closer on it. But I don't know if we can do that. So John, we were showing him the theater next door, which is a performance theater. And there it is. Let's see if we can get it. So do we have any sound with that?
It says I have sound. Wait.
Sounds okay.
Okay.
Let me see your glasses if you let me. They can come right over here. No, sorry, Seth. That's right. Right? You keep your glasses relatively clean.
I try.
Huh?
Try to that's what they're not.
I know. So cup your hands. There. Just flatten them out just a little bit. There we go. All right. And so what I'd like you to do is just make sure there's nothing there. Right? I want you to concentrate on the glasses, okay? Flatten your hands up just a little bit.
I'm lost for words. It's amazing. Oh my gosh.
So you just never know what's going to happen when you come over here for a visit. But that was fun. I didn't expect to do that. I just decided at the spur of the moment I was going to do a fun magic trick with him. And there it was. So you see what you missed, Todd Fisher, while you're sleeping? You missed a whole day of your life and a whole day of fun that we had. In any case, tonight's show, we are going to go ahead. I have to pull everybody up here because I'm not even on the app yet. So let me do that. Tonight we're going to talk about Belle Island, which is really exciting because, you know, we're going to get to show you some very cool things on the way to that museum. We feel so hopeful and confident that we are going to be able to get a museum up the way Debbie wanted to, or at least, you know, almost the way Debbie wanted to. And so it's been really an exciting time because, as you know, we were in Branson last weekend and we had meetings there, and we have meetings here. And, you know, it's pretty exciting when you start to think about the possibility of it. And if you think, but it's also, in a way, kind of weird because when you watch Debbie become disappointed, and as Todd would say, watch your mother's heart get broken over and over. I don't it's not my collection, and she spent her whole life doing that. So I do my very best to kind of have the mindset that I had as an actress, which is I was never so invested that whether I got a part or not. I just went and did my work, and if I got the role, awesome. And if I didn't, it wasn't meant to be mine, and I would move on. I didn't ever invest my emotions 100% in anything like that. So I'm doing the same thing here. Welcome back, and ladies and gentlemen, Todd Fisher. The roar of the crowd. All right. So do we have anything that we are going to show tonight before we get started in there?
I don't know. Do you want to start the video?
I'll take the reins on that just so you guys can. We have some items. We were talking about.
If you're going to do this, you have to get on camera. I refuse to allow voices.
Okay.
I'll let you because I can't get on camera.
The Wizard of
Yeah,
Oz
come on over
thing-
here. Come here. You don't want to be on camera? Okay, so what do we have going, and I'll talk about it.
So we have.
Go ahead and get yourself on the mic.
Speaking of Belle Island, some things, and I believe Ryan has the photos of them. Or I can share my screen on Apple TV, whatever works. But on the Debbie Reynolds Studio Store page, we have
Apple TV.
We have some very rare items from Belle Island actually available that were going to originally be in the gift shop of Belle Island. However, of course, that never came to fruition, so we're offering them now. This is a very rare Belle Island shot glass, and along with this, you will be getting a 8x10 photo of Todd and Debbie at the topping off ceremony that Todd will sign for you live on the air tonight.
You see why this is so...
No, I like it.
No, but just...
It's a voiceover.
We're staring at you with the voice. It's just like... I mean...
I'm looking at everything on Apple TV.
All right.
Okay.
As well as... what would you call that, Todd? A booklet? What kind of booklet would you call that?
It was a prospectus made for the presentation of the project to city planners, sponsors, things like that. There were a few of them were made up, not many of them though, because we really just had a handful for each thing. So we found a little stash of those to include to make a nice little package here of something rare.
All right, so that is on
there are
the
4
site?
of those available. Yeah, they're on the homepage of Debbie Reynolds Studio Store.
But I should be showing the book right now. We don't
It's
have
right
it.
on the side of you.
Okay, so I mean, if we're going to talk about this right now, then I should be.
Well, we want to let them know that they have, this is there
Yeah, it's
for the
on the
time that
site.
we're on the show.
But there's only 4 of them, so it's kind of a first come, first serve thing.
Correct.
Right.
That's the problem. And last time we did this with an item like this, before I could finish talking about it, it was gone. So that's almost like not fair to the viewers. But what's in this book is a cool, I'll go to the close-up camera, Buck. Close-up camera, Buck. So this has renderings. As you can see there, that's a rendering of the boat that was to be, and we'll be showing you pictures of that being finished. But this was a book very early on, and we had the Debbie signature, and then it discusses the island and a lot of the details about the project in general, including, a lot of the designs relating to the theaters and the pavilions and things like that. So there's some cool stuff in this book, and certainly this was never intended. It's also stories about the collection in here. And, this was not ever intended to be published other than to promote Belle Island and what we were contemplating doing. But a minute ago, Kat said, that you can come out, Buck. You can come out, Buck. A minute ago, Kat, said that nothing we could ever do today would ever hold a candle to what Debbie had in her collection. There were 3,000 costumes, and it represented stuff that it can never be. It's Humpty Dumpty. It can never be put back together again ever. It's the collection. Her worst nightmare, was that the stuff would be spread to the four corners of the earth, and that's exactly what it happens. Now, I do know where some of the stuff is, and I know some private collectors, and so we can do a good job, but they'll never be what she had, ever, because of short-sighted people. Specifically, no, I'm not going to do that. That's going to do my list.
Yeah, no, don't go there.
Let me name some names. It seems to be a popular thing
It's
these
a longer
days.
list than
That's right.
need
We
two
don't have
shows.
time, actually, to get through the whole list. No, that's not true. There were, in fact, it really is the other way around. There was just a handful of people that caught this. Roddy McDowell, Elizabeth Taylor, Bob Mackey, Rhett Turner, David Walper, Margie, they're literally, my sister and I, of course, but the industry people got it a little later, but nobody stepped up. So like when I say got it, I'm talking about contributed in some meaningful fashion, economically or with their time. Very few of them showed up. They'd show up for Debbie for almost anything, a lot of her pals, but none of them really wanted to invest or be part of a Hollywood museum. I think in some ways, I know some of them thought that it might even be egotistical. Oh, we're going to do what, a museum about ourselves? And isn't it interesting that my mother felt that she could do a museum for all the great movies and the great directors and the great actors and the great musical scores. She could do that for everybody, but somehow that was beneath everybody else, or it would be some sort of a self-gratifying thing. My mom did not see it as self-gratifying.
No, but I think that it was very evident that when the hotel had the museum and everyone came here for opening night, and I remember looking at that video. Do you remember this, Seth? How everybody was shocked. All the stars that showed up, they were being interviewed by the press, and they were all just absolutely shocked and stunned and amazed at what you had and your mother had put together, because when people were hearing about it, they couldn't imagine it. And, and so when they saw what you did, and with such a limited amount of money that you put, it was stunning, it really, and you were seeing things that hadn't been displayed that way before. And honestly, I've been to a lot of museums, and I haven't seen anything like it since.
Well, it had to be unique, obviously, and it was such an important collection, and it had to be done uniquely, and it still has to be done uniquely. We just came back from Branson, and one of the things that I said is I'm not interested in doing, some half-assed, run-of-the-mill museum where you look at a bunch of stuff hanging on walls, and, it needs to be interactive, it needs to have kiosks, it needs to have film clips, it needs to have, surrounding support to every single image and every movie and every artifact. And I just won't do it any other way. Having done it the right way, for her, I wouldn't do it any other way. The journey to Belle Island was an interesting journey because we came from the hotel in 1998, and within about a year, I had moved the entire collection back to the ranch. Not the entire collection, but big chunks of it, because the bulk of the collection had been moved, all of it had been moved to Vegas from North Hollywood. And, it was sticking, we had a beautiful storage facility at the hotel that we had built. And so when the hotel was no more, pieces of the collection big chunks of it had to go somewhere. So they went into a warehouse here in Vegas initially, because we didn't have the building at the ranch yet, and my mother's closet could only hold so much. I'm joking, but I'm not joking.
I know.
She basically took all the high-end pieces, or whatever she deemed to be a high-end piece, and put it in her closet here in Vegas. And I don't think anybody knew for a long time. There were a few people that had helped her schlep it over there. Fred Pearson, my assistant, Henry Catrona, Judy DeCarlo. There were people that worked with us that knew. But obviously, you're not going to promote that you have this stuff, in a condo. But it took months, to finish that building to where we could bring the collection to the ranch. So we did. Over a period of, let's say, a year, eventually the whole bulky part of the collection got moved back to California to the ranch, and the high-end pieces stayed with her, and a few with Carrie and a few with me. But there's the most of it. We had a big building. We built a 9,000 square foot building, so we had sufficient space all of a sudden to really let the collection spread out and breathe. That led within about a year to some different offers, including the one from Hollywood and Highland, which, as we know, fell apart in 2001. Wasn't that the 9/11?
Yes.
So that was 9/11. The developer went under, and I'll do a show to that. We have beautiful plants and designs for that. Great film clips of Carrie and my mother, and a lot of people standing by my mom wanting to see that happen, because everybody was like, sure, Hollywood. And by this point, a lot of them had seen Vegas. So I think you brought up a good point that I have never really thought about. When you said that people prior were not able to visualize what it could be. So I think that excuse was good right up to having it in Vegas, and then that excuse goes out the window.
Right.
Because now most of those people had seen it. But granted, we weren't going back to a lot of the same people. But a lot of people did see it at that point, like Elizabeth saw it and stuff, and she then actually gave some significant items, to the museum. So there were some people that really stepped up there. Roddy McDowell was unaware, and you could see that clip that we've run before of him. He was blown away.
Oh, everybody was. That's the thing I remember the most about the red carpet clip of the opening of the hotel and museum, was how shocked even the people that were in these films, that you had the costumes from. All of the stars, from the golden era were there, and they were just blown away.
Roddy McDowell was in his own right like a Robert Osborne. I mean, for a guy that grew up in the business, literally, really grew up, and of course was in so many movies over the years and knew everybody. And, so to have his blessing was a big deal. And his dying wish in a letter, and I'd like to see this letter. The Academy has it. I wish there was such a thing as, how do you get stuff out of the government, Public Information Act? I wish there was a way to get this letter, because he read it to my mother and I heard it. So I know what it is. It was a dying wish that they would do something with my mother finally, having seen what he saw and how great it could be, and he wanted them to come together and beg them. And at the time, he was either on their board or he was still the president, one or the other. But it was a big deal to get his endorsement because of his knowledge of that. Now, when Hollywood and Highland fell apart in 2001, right away I was approached by Glenn Bilbo, who is the developer in Tennessee who was building Belle Island. And he called me over a period of several months trying to get me to come there. And I had no idea what he was talking about. He kept talking about a pigeon forge. Now, in my world, those are two different things. There's pigeons and there's a forge. A forge is where you take raw metal and shape it, or your forge where you make a horse, fit a shoe for a horse, or that's a metal forge. And then a pigeon is just a funny little bird that you have 230 of. And I was like, Pigeon Forge? No, he said, no, it's a city in Tennessee. And I was like, can't be. He says, but he mentioned that it was right down the road from Gatlinburg and right on the edge of the Smoky Mountains. Now, the Smoky Mountain National Park is, I believe, the second most visited national park in the United States. It's an amazing national park, and it's close to a lot of people, so it's very popular. And Gatlinburg I'd heard of. So over some time, he talks me into going there, and I fly over to see it, and I was blown away, at this little town, and how quaint it was, how great the people were, and how truly, excited they were if we would bring the collection there. And it was like, compared to like strangling people to get their attention in Los Angeles, here was some people begging for Debbie to bring her collection and saying, we'll pay for everything, just please come. You know, and it was like, it was refreshing. And then when I was meeting the people, it was refreshing because these were the fans. These were the people that made the movies and paid for all the salaries of all the snobs that had turned her down. And it's like that none of those movie stars would be movie stars without those fans. Just you subtract that whole bunch of people over there, and the theaters would be empty, and they'd all be performing to themselves, patting each other on the back. I mean, but what they lived for, of course, was the gratification from all the fans, people saying, oh, this is fantastic. What a beautiful piece of art this is. A fantastic musical score, amazing acting, whatever. Everybody lived for that. Great costume designs. So anyway, it was really obvious that was a welcoming environment. So I went back to my mother and I mentioned it to her, and she had a similar reaction that I had, but agreed to go over there and look. She had been to Gatlinburg, and driven through Pigeon Forge. It's like,
it's such a cool area. I mean, I used to go to Gatlinburg when I was in high school in the summer sometimes. So I knew about Gatlinburg, but I didn't know anything about Pigeon Forge.
Well, I think it was also, growing, and now it's really grown. But there were quite a few potential tourists available to the market. Big, not quite Vegas style, but big. It was some big numbers. Needless to say, we did an amazing design that really we've 10-upped Vegas. I mean, I did much bigger theaters. This is when I came up with this whole pavilion idea, because we could build different rooms in different areas and contribute them to different.
Do we have a picture of that? Because I'm
got
so
stuff.
lucky that I got to see
Kat
that
was
in person.
unique.
Before we go on, I just wanted to let you know that the shot glasses all sold out, as well
I didn't get
as
to even
The
talk
coffee
about it.
mugs are gone. You know what's left?
The
The
mugs
plaque.
went too.
the mug went too. Someone
Well,
saw
I didn't
that
set-
went before the show.
but
That- Ryan put it up right before the show, and someone got
Oh,
it.
I made a mistake.
do you
There was
have-
only one of those.
Let's
as you
show
know.
the plaque, because that's the only thing left.
Well, yeah, and I have
Yes.
it up on the Apple TV, and it's right next
Oh,
to
I
it.
didn't
Right,
get to
there
talk
it
about it.
is.
All right, well, I have it in my hand. Go to the close-up camera. Well, the reason why this is an interest. No, we got it. It's on. We have it. Just cut to the close-up camera.
There you go.
So it's hard to see it. Well, there, you can see it a little better.
That's good.
So
there.
we're going to run a film clip in a second. This little plexiglass plaque, there were only a handful of these made. And the key players that came to the opening, come back to me, the key players that came to the opening, the topping off party is what we called it. And the building was like 120 feet tall. So 10 stories tall plus. And so when that top piece of steel went on there, it was a big deal. And I had been going there regularly since we were digging holes in the ground, but my mother had not been coming during construction. And, she came for the topping off party. And there's a beautiful picture of my mother and I when this is happening. Go back to close-up for a second. This is a picture of my mother and I at the topping off party, and she's looking up at the building. And I have to tell you, that's such a gratifying look.
That is the happiest I've ever seen your mom, because the look in her face, that is that, oh my gosh,
Now
it's finally happening.
Show the preview. Go back to, where'd that go? Put that back up. Yeah, I want to see the front of the building for a second. No, not the product. What you just had the picture of the building up. Yeah, that's fine for now. Just hold on that. So what we're looking at here is the front of the riverboat. And if you notice that top piece of steel there, those two poles going up eventually were covered in smokestacks like a riverboat. And then that was the bridge between the two smokestacks. And that's the thing you're seeing us looking at in that photograph. So when you see, come back to me for a second. So when you see us looking up, that's what we're looking at. They're setting that piece of steel. And I mean, every time we would get to a place like this in my life, it was, when we opened Vegas, my mother was sitting in the theater and she was talking to her friends. And, she choked herself up talking about the dream, and there it was. And there it was. The museum finally was there. And, Hollywood and Highland, we didn't quite get this far. We got pretty far. We were remodeling that building extensively, several different floors and all that. And there we were, standing on the site where a spectacular museum was going to be. Not just, Vegas was an amazing little museum, but it was nothing. We had less than 10% of the collection on display. This was going to hold like half the collection at any given time. So you would have got, this was going to be hardcore. You can come back to me. Inside, I want to run the clip. You have the...
Do you want to run that first? Because I also have some interior photos of it.
Oh, go ahead. We're talking about that. Go ahead and run photos. All right, we're go with Apple TV then.
And just because I think a few people think this is actually a riverboat, this is a building built to look like a riverboat from the outside.
Well, that's what's in the books too. Go back
Yeah.
to that shot. Don't come off that shot.
It's so huge.
Let me explain what you're looking at. You see the little white circle up in the ceiling?
Yeah.
That was, there were two of those, and those were going to hold her grand chandeliers from Gone with the Wind. They were made for that. And right up underneath there would have been sweeping staircases, a la Gone with the Wind, even though Gone with the Wind staircases were straight, but, very grand Busby Berkeley kind of staircases against the curve going up to the first experience. Now, for those of you who didn't want to walk the grand staircases, there were things that you could look at as you went up, but there were elevators as well. But you actually began on the second floor. This was the gathering lobby, and you got your tickets, and the gift shop was down there and all that. But then you went up to this level where we are right there. No, I'm still on the first floor. Okay, that's still just another view of the first floor. But when you got to the second level, there was an entrance to a large theater. That was the first theater. It was 220 seats. It had 4 carousels in it, stacked. This is from higher up looking down. You can move past that. Now, so there's the 220-seat theater. Now, notice the little curve shapes. You see the double curve shapes on each side. And then in the middle, there's one large one. So there was a 30-foot large carousel in the middle and 4 10-foot carousels on each side. So you can imagine the production value of seeing these costumes on these revolving stages. And then above all that, you'll notice where the drywall is, all that was a huge screen where you would be seeing a 40-foot image of whatever the movie is we were discussing at the time. And of course, Debbie would be taking you through all this as the curator. The black catwalks above were technical catwalks. And it was a rake theater. You see how steep that is.
I was sitting in that theater when you took me to see it while it was still standing. We went to Pigeon Forge together, and when I walked in there, and it was so unique because there were no chairs. The theater was the stone.
Well, at that moment, yeah.
Yeah, but I sat on the stone, and I thought, I could sit here and watch it.
Well,
I don't need a chair.
It's what I
This is
call
so
stadium seating. Today, a
Yeah.
lot of theaters utilize techniques, but we needed this also because we wanted to get everybody up into the middle of the screens and in the middle of the costumes. So there was pretty much not a bad seat in the house. If you tried to do that more flat, get to the point where it'd be harder for people to see.
Did you design this?
I did.
Oh, it's amazing.
And this theater was, but it was based on the Vegas design, just a bigger version.
Right.
Based on sight lines and a lot of other
And you
things.
designed that as well.
Right, but the Vegas theater was 100 seats. This is 220. The reason why it was 220 is we're trying to get that throughput up because we needed to have a bigger capability because you had to go through the theater to get to the other exhibits.
Yes.
So it's almost like a metered entrance. You
Yeah.
had to, and the other thing that was important to my mother was educating people. She loved the Vegas experience because she took you through what she thought was important about the collection. And it took you through each category, whether you liked it or not. You got a little education on silent film or whatever you might normally not be prone to want to know about. So that theater would have been your, I guess you'd say, your introduction to the whole exhibit. It would talk about the pavilions and where to see more. We had another theater on the second level that went between the third and second floor that was the Epics Theater. That had even a bigger screen. It was designed for epic movies, Gone with the Wind, Lawrence of Arabia. It was strictly epics. Mm-hmm. Now you didn't have to do that, but who wouldn't want to see an epic? I mean, to me, like epic is. Now, Star Wars was going to be in there, by the way. So this was by this point, we really had a reason to do Star Wars. Where in Vegas, it was going to be a minor thing in Vegas. We didn't do any science fiction in Vegas. My mother didn't even address the science fiction thing at all. The only science fiction display was in my office. That was the cutout of Carrie. Anyway, any more slides?
I think I have two more. I do have a question for you.
Question.
Someone is asking.
Come to me.
I'm sorry?
Talking to Buck.
Oh. Someone was asking if you would redesign some of this concept for a new museum.
Yeah, I mean, where we just came from in Branson, you could do it. I would do something. It really depends on a lot of things. This was unique because I had a smaller footprint, but I could go as high as I want without anybody complaining. So that was unique. Now, in this, we're looking at a project here in Vegas where we would have a lot more ground square footage, so you wouldn't necessarily have to do as many, as the height that we had there. But I think the theaters are a great way to indoctrinate people. When you bring children and students, just young people in general that maybe haven't been exposed to classic movies, and when you show them the grandeur of some of these motion pictures, it gets them hooked into it. I mean, if you see it on the old days, everybody's watching on smaller TVs. Today, everybody has bigger TVs, which helps, but that's still not this. When I was growing up, this is what you were doing. We were looking at giant screens, and it was a magic to it. It was majestic. It was overwhelming. It was mesmerizing. The people, were mesmerizing. That's a good word for my mother. I always thought that when she performed, she was mesmerizing, And I think movies can be that way. They suck you in, and you're for a couple hours, you're lost in that dream. And when I was building a museum, I wanted to address that so that people, this is always my mother's vision was, how do you perpetuate and transfer the passion and the concern for classic movies to future generations? And the answer is, by showing them the films and not in a little television that big. That's sort of like whatever. It works for some movies, no problem. Wizard of Oz was sold to the world that way. I mean, it was not a huge movie economically compared to what it became historically.
Right.
So anyway, that was her dream. And I think that, we can do that. And I think I can find collections besides what I have. Now it might be more of a United Artists, United Collectors of America, come together to put stuff into this museum that we design. I mean, I'm hoping that's what we do.
Well, we also still have the carousel. So Barb Badalamenti had asked, if you would still use the rotating.
I would.
And those are the carousels, and they're huge and I have only seen footage of it. I never got to see this the Las Vegas Museum in person, although I almost did, because I came to Vegas. I was doing an autograph signing for the soap, and I called Henry Catrona, who was working at the Debbie Reynolds Hotel, and I called him because I wanted to see him. So I would have gone over to the hotel to see him, and I would have been able to see all this, but he was uncharacteristically out of town. And you answered the phone when they patched the call through to Henry. Todd answered the phone. Now, you have to understand, this is
96, 97?
Yeah, like 96, exactly. And so it was, I talked to you on the phone for a second, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't mean to bother you. I was trying to get a hold of Henry, and who knew? It's so weird. Life is really weird, isn't it?
You were setting this whole thing up. I know what was going on.
You hypnotized him.
I know. I mesmerized you. There you go. So I'm really sorry I never saw it in person, but Barb, all this is to say is that the carousels, we still have them. And I've always wished to see them loaded with
so let me give you the good
costumes.
news. The good news is that the quality, the theater that we built in Vegas used high definition, the earliest analog high definition, pre-digital high definition. So it was the highest quality in that domain at the time. It was pretty good. We shot all Debbie's segments in 35 millimeter, which is kind of a great thing. I did it for a different reason. I did it because I wanted it to match all the movies. So I actually shot it with an older BNC Mitchell like the one behind me, and I shot it in 35. And now that's going to be great because when we want to bring Debbie back, which I do, like as a virtual reality, it's going to be amazing because we'll have 35 millimeter to work with instead of like any video of the day would be poor.
So what you're talking about it's called Musion, and it's
It can be. There's
it's
a
the
lot of names for
holographic.
it, yeah.
Yeah. So you literally can bring somebody back to life, and when you're standing
It
there,
looks real.
It looks like they are standing
But the
right
better
there.
the quality of the original material, the better that effect is going to be.
Actually, you know who does this? And I want to go just to see it because I love ABBA, first of all. But in England, in fact, hi Drew, I just saw that you were in the room and I got all excited. In London, they have it's the ABBA experience, and you go see ABBA in concert, and it's all Musion and holograms.
Now, the reason why that works,
and it's people say it's absolutely
well,
astonishing.
here's the thing. That works because you're using modern cameras and the technology is there. But when Michael Jackson was alive, the quality was limited. So when you're seeing the show that you like, the one.
Oh, Michael Jackson won at Mandalay Bay.
So when
Incredible
it's
show.
one of your favorite shows, but
Yeah.
the reason why that's not going to be as good as, say, the ABBA thing is because it was shot with yesterday's technology. Had they shot all of Michael Jackson's stuff in 35, it would have been a lot easier to create that effect.
Okay, so if that's not as good as it could be, then
It could be way better.
But for me, it was the best because
love it.
Everybody who has seen the show with me.
I'm just talking about the visual aspect of it. Michael Jackson
It looked like
is
he's
nothing.
there. Seth,
Oh
did you?
no, it's an incredible the way they put it on.
He's dancing with other
With people.
and it was a stunning thing. If you're a Michael Jackson fan, and if you don't see
Well,
this,
the
you're
reason why we
crazy.
digressed into this is because the point was I want to bring Debbie and others back to be your tour guides. I
Yeah.
think that would be a good thing. And it's she was on board with this. We had Debbie in a virtual reality in the sets on the 30-foot carousel for the first time ever. We used computer-generated backgrounds to go with the set, like an extension of the set. Now, this is done all the time today in seamless fashion, but back then it was not an easy thing to do. It would take 2 days to render an image, where today you could probably do it in 5 minutes. So there's significant technology improvements that are going to make the experience more entertaining. The sound is not really improved. If you play Jerome Kern's sound from Showboat, where we played that for you in Vegas, in that theater, we're not going to be able to improve on it. It was beautifully recorded back then in analog, and I don't care what you do with the digital, you can get it quieter or other things, but man, that sound is amazing. So there's some things that just don't get better with age, and some things do. So technology certainly has in the visual realm. So we're going to have beautiful images when we do this. But back to Belle Island for a second. The Belle Island project, after it could, you remember when the economy tanked. I've talked about this, and I won't digress into this too far. But Countrywide was the lender, and they went under during this 2006, and so all of a sudden, 85% done. We'd already moved the collection there, everything. The whole collection sitting, in tractor trailers and other air-conditioned storage units and stuff. And all of a sudden, the project's not going to happen. You were there actually after, like, the shock of all that.
Right.
But we thought we were going to. You were there when I visited.
That was 2008, and we
Didn't
went
I go to
there-
the governor's office with you?
Yeah, we went there in 2010 because we started to see each other January 10th, 2010, and then maybe just some months into our courtship, we went to Pigeon
Well, you
Forge
were abducted on a.
by a strange
large
alien named
orb.
Todd Fisher, who took me to a
My
wonderful planet called
40-foot
Pigeon Forge. It was amazing.
The Revolution Starship went to Pigeon Forge. Now that starts to sound kind of weird,
but
doesn't it?
you know what I didn't realize then that I realize right now is that was so new still to you because it was 2008 that it went under.
Well, keeping in mind that
And we were there in 2010, so all of that emotion and angst and joy and everything that happened in a period of a few years.
Well, we
and-
weren't giving up on it. If you remember, we
Yeah, yeah.
the Obama, had said, bring us shovel-ready projects, and the government will help. So, Glenn and myself and Bill Killian and a bunch of people got together and, went to all of the different government officials, from senators to governors, all the way up, saying this is not only shovel-ready, it's past the shovel.
Oh, it was. It was.
There's no
so
shovel.
close,
We're past
yeah.
shovels. So, and I to this day, I don't know what politics swung that the wrong way, because with Debbie's name associated, and I was over there swinging pretty hard to say, you're over here saying you want shovel ready. Well, how much more shovel ready can you get? The buildings are 85% done. The collection is here. It'll employ thousands of people and draw millions of tourists a year. What else could you want that doesn't fit the bill to economic development? So anyway, for whatever reason, the politics didn't happen. Now, to this day, the island is successful, and they went and tore that huge building down of ours.
What
which
year
is-
was that? Because I
don't know.
I couldn't even bear. I don't remember because I couldn't bear that news. I
Well,
really
that's just ignorant. Like, it's tear a building down like that.
Well,
It
you
was
could
a-
have made so many things out of
anything.
it. Yeah, I mean,
it was
so
it was
it was weird
to not understand how to reuse that. It just shows unbelievable ignorance, and I can say that with absolute confidence.
Yeah.
That the people that made that decision are idiots and belong in various governmental departments of that we have, because we have a few people in government that think that same way. If you cannot adapt, overcome, persevere in life, like that they should have first of all called us. What makes you think I wouldn't have just come right back? Some of the things that happen in life I just cannot explain.
Well, because we also, your mom still had the collection.
We didn't go to auction yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
We did go back to the academy after all this, and and tried again to make a deal, and then that didn't. They were not interested. And then, of course, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. We had to finally pay off some of the debts that had been incurred, actually from Hollywood and Highland, not even from Belle Island.
That I didn't know.
Ah, well, now you do.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. Oh, my God. Hollywood and Highland was where we had spent the money. We'd invested money in the deal. We had done renovation there. And at Belle Island, the developer was basically developing the whole thing as our partner. And it was you got to, whatever you want to say about Glenn Bilbo, I don't know. He's a visionary and really saw everything that Debbie was doing, what I was doing, and anything we asked for, he was always right there to make it happen, and did. You saw the building. We have some great aerial shots of do you have an aerial shot of the island? I do somewhere, but it doesn't matter. Why don't you run the topping off video? Because let's let Debbie talk for a change. How about that?
We're here with film star, singer, entertainer, and Academy
Pardon the
Award
sound
winning
here.
Debbie
It's
Reynolds. It's
both
such a
these
pleasure
clips
to meet
have
you
questionable
today.
sound.
And welcome to Tennessee.
I'm very excited to be here. It's the first time I've seen our set, I'll call it our set, up. I walked when the first started. Belle Island was here, of course, but none of the buildings were up. So today is my first day to see up.
Well, your new Debbie Reynolds Hollywood Motion Picture Museum coming to Belle Island Village
Yep.
is very reminiscent of a New Orleans steamboat. Does that have any showboat connotations from that movie and musical?
Well, it does, but the idea of it is Belle Island.
Right.
Naturally, Belle Island is an island, and we wanted the whole idea of the scheme and the theme of the park, shall we call it a shopping extravaganza, is that it's a showboat, and so we did a replica. And of course, I loved Showboat, the original movie with Howard Keel and Katherine Grayson and Ava Gardner and all that, of which we have all the costumes. And so we'll have them all exhibited on the showboat, because it's not a showboat, it's going to be a museum inside. We'll have 3 theaters finally, and we have 4,000 costumes, so we'll have cars and costumes. You'll have so much to see, you won't know. You can spend days in there.
Your children, Carrie Fisher and Todd Fisher, have been very involved in the process of developing this museum and bringing it to Tennessee as well.
Well, without Todd, there is no museum because I couldn't do it. I'm busy trying to buy costumes and pay for everything. And Todd, he has the love of it. And he simply, I was very fortunate that he fell in love with my idea or madness of creating a museum. And he's kind of stuck by my side. And Carrie, of course, is busy writing, doing different plays and movies, but she helps us with all the writing whenever we want her to appear. You know, she comes and she'll be here for the opening. So I'm very lucky that both of my children, well, wanted the idea of the history of the motion picture business to be put down, be someplace where America can really see it.
I'm so excited. Aren't you excited? And then look, they put up a tent so you're in the shade. Now, I want to thank Jim, especially. Where are you? Where did he go? Where is he? Oh, Jim, you know, it's the first man I've never seen a rich man cry. Did you see him? He cried introducing you to Glenn. You've done so much work. He's so proud of you. He's so thrilled you stuck with this. Whew. This has been quite a job, ladies and gentlemen, I must admit. So, Jim, I thank you for crying because I'm always the one that cries. I'm a very big slob. And things that affect me and make me feel emotional, I always cry. I don't know why, you know, but like at a good steak, I'll cry. So... Today, I want to thank the band. You were just great. I was in the ladies' room doing you know what, and you were just great. To do that to rhythm, it was wonderful. Well, you know how that feels when you're all by yourself. It's lonely. I can't wait to meet the otters because I love otters. They're so adorable. They remind me of all my husbands. Yeah, the same kind of look. Yeah, and they do nothing. They just float around and they want to be fed. You know, pee in the air. I don't know. So, well, I didn't ever. I'm sorry, Todd. I'm sorry. I gave you everything but good love. So I gave you my love, a woman's love. You know, it's wonderful. So, this is my son, Todd. He's an angel. If it wasn't for Todd, this couldn't happen because I just kept working, buying things that everybody said, that is such a pile of So I said, no, it's not. It's Greta Garbo, it's Barbara Streisand, it's Marilyn Monroe, it's everything everybody's interested in. It's Judy Garland, it's James Cagney. It's exciting, you know. Don't you understand? So then I decided about the museum when Todd was about 11 years old. And he used to have brown hair, and now he has silver hair. He has a little left. When he began, he had a whole head of hair. Bill Killian, I wouldn't have even been able to be here, and imagine that I got to fly in the private airplane. Otherwise, you know, you take about 5 planes to get here. It's just a short hip jump from LA. So I'm grateful that you have kept some of your money and that you loan that plane to old movie stars like me, please. Because I'm out of work, I might as well fly right. Isn't that terrible? Now, I hope you don't mind my being so honest with all of you here. Daryl Waltrip, I'm so excited to be a part of that wonderful bug. I just killed him. I've got my first kill. Jeff Hammond is so adorable and so cute, and I was just stunned at his blue eyes. It's too bad I'm so old and way, way past due. So I just want to congratulate you because I don't care what you do, you're adorable. It doesn't matter, just walk around and all of us will applaud. Oh my God. I'm delighted to be here, of course, in the Smoky Mountains because I wanted to keep up the right image, you know. I mean, with Dolly having come here years ago, I also have triple Ds. I know you didn't notice them, but yeah, well, at least I thought I'd get a hand from the front table. You can't have everything else goes, but those do stay. They drop a little, but they're there. As long as you have them, that's the main thing. Without my son, he was really tough to give birth to. 9 pounds, 3 ounces. Here he is, Todd Reynolds.
Yes. Well, she said that my father did one thing right. He was the sperm donor. That was one of her older jokes.
Say it again.
The applause was too loud.
I was just going to say, I've always said to Todd, I did one thing right. The only thing Eddie did right was he was a good sperm giver. Go ahead.
We had to get that straight. Ever since I'm a little kid, I've been listening to my mother talk about preserving Hollywood. We've been to the MGM auctions together. I was very young, and I didn't fully appreciate what was going on. But over the years, her dream became contagious to both my sister and myself, and the idea that we would preserve for future generations the history of film and the great actors and all of the accomplishments that these films represent. And, you know, in our country, we have many museums and things that we honor, but we have skipped over Hollywood for some strange reason, and she has always had the dream. I found a letter from John F. Kennedy to her, congratulating her for her efforts in getting a museum going in Hollywood, and, you know, obviously written in the early 60s. So that shows you how long she's been crusading to have this done. And here we are today, finally, after all the talk and the rhetoric of all of the politicians and the people that have been involved in prior attempts, and we're now standing in front of what I consider to be a great, great attraction, something that will raise the bar, not only in this area, but in Hollywood in general, and the way this would be presented. So I am very happy to see this here.
And they're building me an apartment, so now I'm going to come and live here and never leave. So I'm going to be in the museum. They're going to stuff me, and then I'm going to be like Trigger. It's all happening here in Pigeon Forge, and thank you for including us. Thanks for letting us be a part of this wonderful, momentous occasion.
Oh, boy. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. Now, where is that sign? You know, I started to think about, right? We all signed it. I remember that well. Now, this is where they put Belle Island up there. I guess that steel must be galvanized. That's the big Belle Island sign.
It's not called Belle Island, is it?
Not anymore.
Yeah.
No, but who knows where that sign is? Things just, yeah, so there you go. Look, see it? And that's the still picture that we're talking about and that we're offering with those few collectibles that we have is for this, what they call a topping off event. So that giant Belle Island sign was on top of the building. And you could see that's...
So
that
the museum was the centerpiece of the entire
island.
Yes.
Yep, that's it. You can come back to us.
Okay, so
Back to us.
Your mom was, well, she was funny in person also, you know what I mean? But when I see things like this, she was so happy, and this is, I've never seen that footage before.
Right, well, she, obviously one of the all-time great ad-libbers, but has nothing really prepared. I know that, I remember she had a little, 5x7 card in front of her that had, she doesn't really know Darrell Waltrip and the NASCAR people. That's not her world. There was going to be a NASCAR exhibit there. She remembered the otters because she probably made a note. But that's the only few cards that she had. The rest of it's just her winging it. And same thing with me for that matter, though. You saw whatever I said there, the prompter was non-existent.
Right.
We get used to people that don't know how to speak from the heart. And everything that she did was from the heart. And she taught me certainly to do that. And that passion that you see, 50 years later fighting for that, is remarkable. And, but it was done. I mean, we were standing,
that had to be the biggest heartbreak of all.
By the way,
I don't even think a human being
you noticed what I put back on?
I do, because that's what she was wearing. So
this is her. Now, this is a little $10 gold piece, but it's made into a watch. It actually opens up into a watch. And she's wearing this in this picture. In fact, if go to the close-up camera. Mm-hmm. Here, I'll take this. See if I can get this off now that I got it on.
Well, you have your hat there. There you go.
Okay, so if you look at that around her neck, you see that's what she has got on.
Yes. Beautiful. And by the way, I just want to say, Seth, you did a great job cutting that. Those were great moments, and you did a wonderful job.
I hope that it wasn't that much longer. It was long.
She went Where you hopped in.
Well, I
That
didn't
was
hop
great.
in. I waited for you.
She was
You know what?
having a
It's
good
like
time.
I did. Yeah. So and also those people. I always look at an audience. Like so, if you notice where I was sitting off to the side. I'm looking at the audience, and when you see an audience like this, it's like mesmerized. You don't need to get up and say, all right, let's keep things moving here. I mean, I didn't hear any, I mean, people would have listened to her read the phone book. So anyway, so now you understand what this is. This was made for that day.
Yeah.
And there were just a few of them made.
Is that plexiglass?
It's plexiglass.
Yeah.
But I have the other one.
And what comes?
I don't know
what
which.
comes with that?
Well, it comes with the book that we talked about, and it comes with the pictures. And I was going to sign these once you
Oh,
figure
that
out who.
Sign them. I have the names
picture.
whenever you're
So
ready.
it's the picture. We made prints of the picture. It comes with the book explaining what the project was.
Right.
And it comes, and for whoever gets this one, this is extremely rare. I don't know which one's which, to tell you the truth. The funny part is my mother's and mine were mixed together. So you might be getting Debbie's, you might be getting mine. There are only two that I'm aware of. So anyway, it's a cool piece. I don't think that there are very few, if any, around. I bet you Darrell Waltrip got one. Jeff Hammond, who was the crew chief for Darrell Waltrip, he was the young guy sitting next to her that she was teasing about his blue eyes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, these were young guys.
Well, one thing I have to say, one of many, 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 many things I loved about your mom was she loved a good-looking guy, and she was a class A flirt, and she would so adorable when she would do it, and she loved dimples and blue eyes.
Blue eyes. Well, the blue
The
eye
blue
thing got
eyes
her in
just
the
really
end.
got her.
That cost us about 12 million, the blue eyes. So, I mean, I'd rather go with, Carl was, the equivalent of 50 million. So the hazel eyes, we didn't do much better with that. Eddie, brown eyes, was the cheapest set of eyes of all. So let's just stay with the brown eyes next time. You have brown eyes.
I don't.
In me.
Oh, yes. You actually
chose the brown eyes.
You have the most beautiful brown eyes because they're not dark brown. They're a almost see-through brown. They're very beautiful. I remember that's one of the first things I noticed about you when I looked into your face, and I was like, oh, wow. Well, of course, I was taken with you
were just
immediately.
tainted.
Well,
Well,
I was completely besotted the second that I laid eyes on you.
that was
so.
just because I didn't want the tomatoes on my pizza.
No, it's not that we both didn't like tomatoes. It was the eyes, the pillowy lips, which I imagined kissing, and all that, the way things happen.
All that jazz.
All that. And after 15 years, I still feel the same way.
Let
about
me
that.
sign. We have four
Okay,
names,
oh,
do we not?
We do.
we
have
we
them,
have
and
how
I'll get
many?
something for you to sign them on, so you.
I have this. This is
You got
adequate.
that?
But how many plaques?
I
We
think
only
I
have
better
one
go.
plaque, right?
Only
We better
one
go
plaque.
black.
We only have one
Better
plaque.
okay.
We better go black on the ink.
Then we'll
Because
go
Did
find
someone
one.
get it? Am I out of
Well,
the loop?
we have.
No, it didn't sell yet, but it's
Well, no,
available.
look,
it's up for sale.
I placed that at a higher. I'm the one who set that price because I know how rare it is, and I don't care if we sell it. But if you are happy with a mug or a shot glass, that's fantastic. I can do gold if I have to, but I don't think it's going to show up very well. So you have names? All right, so
And while you're signing that, I'd like to say hello to Days with Jordan the Lion. Hi, Jordan Lee. Welcome. We love. Jordan comes to our show a lot.
well, give me a name so we can do this on camera
To
thing. Don't.
Barb for Barb Kevern.
Okay, so-
She
so
bought
he's
one of these
Barb
for the
Kevern. You're
shot
getting your.
glasses.
So stay on me for this because we're going to cut this out later probably and send it to him, right?
Wait for the camera to come to you.
I'm waiting, Buck.
There you go.
I'm here. I'm good. Okay.
Okay. Barb.
B-A-R-B?
Yep.
BARB.
That is Barb's. And he is signing them now.
Okay, there's Barb's.
And then to Frank.
Not the Frank. The Frank?
Which one? The one who wrote The Wizard of Oz, or the one?
Well, that
who-
Frank as well. Frank
the,
Morgan.
Oh, the other one, the Jay-Z Frank.
Is it him?
Yes.
Okay, I just have to understand the context.
And then the next one will be, John Eric St. James.
Oh, John Eric St. James has a question. He said that he was watching, I think it was
It's
the
gonna
mating
be,
game.
I just want to make sure he knows it's to John dash Eric. So
John,
Well, let me
is it,
just-
wait, is it John
Jon
dash
Jon.
dash
R
ERIC.
John Eric?
John Eric.
Okay.
Our friend John Eric wants to know that he was watching, I think, the mating game today, and he realized that did your mom ever leave the country to make a movie? Did she ever?
Yes.
That's the one with James Garner, right?
Yes.
And that one is?
Was it? This is the one with the fence
Sweet
with
It
the
Is.
red car. How Sweet It Is? No.
No, it started with a kiss. It's
It
the-
started with a kiss. They went to Spain
to Spain where she met
to
Ava
do the
Gabor.
bullfighting, where she met who?
Ava Gabor.
Oh, is that where they met for the first time? See, I don't even remember that part of the story.
Wait a minute. But didn't she make a movie? Who was that? What was the one that had the car that became the Batmobile?
That's what we're talking
That's
about.
what we're talking about.
Ah.
How sweet it!
With the
Remember, she
kiss.
was in love with James Garner. He's in the Air
Yes,
Force.
okay, so
They
James
win
Garner
the,
wasn't.
They
Not
won the
Ja-
Batmobile.
Glenn Ford, not James Gardner.
Is that
Thank
my
you.
handsome
Wrong.
friend that just walked in here?
Speaking of
Patrick
great
from
men.
Germany
All right, so-
is in the house.
So I did John Eric. Now what?
Okay, so John Eric. So I have the other one is going to be, or the next one I should say is to John Greer, and he would like his full name. That's John, and I could spell the last name.
Go ahead.
Greer.
EER.
Yes.
EER.
All right. Well, or
then
do we have another one in
We
there
have
you have
one
to do?
more.
One
and
more.
That's going to be signed to Katie.
K-A-
Katie. Katie.
Okay. So
Alright.
everybody has
Boom.
their little signed. Now, you know what I should do though, and maybe this is going to make complicated, but I'm going to show each one because I didn't show it.
Go ahead.
So there's Katie's, and then this is John Greer's that I just did.
Debbie Rouse says Eddie looks like he was the better husband of the three.
Well, this is John Eric. Well, as it turns out, as low as that bar is, Eddie is the best of them all. And this is Frank. And the last one was Barb. They're all done. Yeah, so Eddie, there wasn't Carl was an innocent, kind of pathetic figure with his addictions that caused mass destruction. That's weakness and whatnot. Eddie had addictions and problems, but he didn't really do anything maliciously. He was just a little bit of a narcissist compared to some. I sense that I've met much bigger narcissists. I didn't actually know there could be bigger ones.
Oh, you didn't know there was a sliding scale on
No.
narcissism?
Well, and it's pretty substantial.
Yes.
I didn't know that. Eddie's actually on the smaller end of it. And in fact, it varied. He had what's called the variable speed narcissism, that if he was left to his own devices, it could get more extreme. But when he was with people, he could be very gracious and funny. Now, Richard Hamlet, on the other hand, is a full-blown sociopath, in my opinion, because he's so slick. He's very charming. There goes the blue eyes. She went for the blue eyes.
Uh-huh.
He had fantastic blue eyes. The only thing that I could say, currently about Richard Hamlet is that he was indicted by the FBI on bankruptcy fraud, which doesn't surprise me. He got away with it during the hotel era. Got away with murder, and the bankruptcy courts didn't know how to handle him. Finally, somebody got a hold of him, and the FBI contacted me and let me know they're prosecuting him. So that's the good news, is that sometimes justice finds us here on earth. The good news is there's also what happens after. I believe in the hereafter and the harvest that certain people are going to be reaping when they do finally move on, because there is accountability, whether here or later. It could be here. It's nice when it's here, because then the victims feel like, okay, a little satisfaction. My mother, would never want anybody to be punished unjustly. But she was also a fair person that would want justice to be handed out. And I think you could see the way she talks about him in her book. I mean, rarely do you see my mom go after anybody to that degree.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
when I wrote my book, I had a few things to say about him. I don't remember everything I said about Richard, but I know that the lawyers for the book company were concerned about what I had said.
Well,
And-
because he's still living, or in whatever
well, and he's
fashion.
litigious, but I said, I don't care. I will indemnify you for anything that happens. If Richard Hamlet comes after me, let him do it.
Yeah.
Because I said I have so much ammunition on this guy. We won huge judgments against him. But it's that's just part of the whole saga, isn't it? Because think of that. That took away the hotel from her. That was a pretty horrible thing to do. There was no need for any of that.
I know I told you this. I think I even told Seth this, but I was flying to Roanoke because I was on my way to the State Fair, West Virginia, to perform, and he was, you take those regional flights into Roanoke, and he was on my plane. He was 2 rows away from me, and I recognized him, and I thought, oh my gosh, what are the chances of this? I've never flown into Roanoke, and he's on this plane, and he was old. I mean,
Well, he's in his 80s, obviously, late 80s.
no, I would think now he's past that. Because
No, he was in
Was
his
he
80s.
younger than your mom?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? We have come to that magic hour where we're going to give prizes away because this show has reached
Its natural
conclusion. But I want to tell you that I really enjoyed this show. I got to see a lot of footage that I've never seen before, and I think if you guys enjoyed it,
We're
make
sorry
sure
we started late.
we had some technical problems that we had to deal with. If you love the show, if you even like the show, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel because that helps us out a lot. And right now we're going to do a giveaways before we say goodnight. So we'll go to the first wheel. Kyle, we're going to have you pull that wheel up. And there it is. This is called the randomizer. It is a wheel that if you have entered the room and spoken in the chat, you have automatically been entered on. So you see all those names there. Oh, I like this new fancy background, Kyle. Look at that. Fireworks. You see it? I love it. Okay, so unless I'm tripping, I'm not really sure. The food poisoning is making me imagine things. Anyway, we're going to spin the wheel 6 times. So you have 6 chances. Every name on there, all of you out there who have commented, you have 6 chances to win a prize. And this is a digital randomizing wheel, so when Kyle spins it, it will stop digitally, and here we go. Let's do it. Let's give away a prize. Spin that wheel, Kyle.
Well, he's already did.
Oh,
have
you
a winner.
did? Lisa. That's just one little name there. That's like Cher.
Right. Well, Lisa is so famous.
Lisa.
That amongst the millions of Lisas in the world, we all know who she is.
Exactly. Lisa, you have won the travel size of the Miracle Working Foaming Cleanser, which is by my company, donated by catcosmetics.com, catcosmetics.com. We're having a 30% off everything sale right now because my birthday is coming up this Tuesday, so 30% off and free shipping at catcosmetics.com. This takes all your makeup off in one fell swoop, and at the same time, it tones your skin. This is one of the most beautiful products. Actually, I love all my products, but this is one of my favorites because I have to take my makeup off all the time and I don't want to spend my life doing it. This takes it off and leaves your skin really soft. Lisa, and everyone who wins tonight, please write us at catandtoddlive@gmail.com and claim your prize and give us an address so we can send that out to you. And now we're going to go to the second winner. So here we go. Kyle? It is a lot of names. We had a great audience tonight. And we have Catherine Maxey. Catherine Maxey, congratulations. You have won the Miracle Working Cream to Gel Moisturizer. It's a huge seller for us because it makes your skin really, it tightens your skin. And it's like right away. It's amazing. It tightens the skin, it moisturizes the skin, and it makes the skin have this beautiful like glassy effect. And so for that reason, this is a really popular moisturizer. Catherine Maxey, make sure you write us and let Ryan know what you want and your address, and that will be
Those
going out
labels
to
are
you.
pretty.
Thank you. I designed those. You like them?
Yeah, they're pretty.
I know. Love it. Okay, so let's go to number 3. And we have a winner. It is
Don't we have something like
John. Oh my gosh! Now, could I see that name because
Hollister,
as
was
well,
it?
we know John.
Hostelier?
Hosteler. I want to get this right so bad because I know
Hostelier.
we've met
Hosteler.
John. John has been here.
Tiller.
Hosteler.
It went away. I can't see.
I know,
it.
but
That's all
anyway,
right.
John, you have also won the Miracle Working Cream to Gel Moisturizer, and let me assure you, this is better than anything that you will find. I was saying last night, I watched these commercials for this one men's cream that's on the air, and
Now, is that book any good?
I know this is way better than that for sure because this is one of the finest moisturizers
Okay.
ever, men and women. It's amazing.
There's
So,
no photos?
John, send us your address so we can get that out to you at catandtoddlive@gmail.com. Congratulations, John, and thank you for being such a good friend of the show. Here we go. We're going to choose another. This is the next one, right?
That's not a sign.
Seth?
Can't do another
Is
sign.
is this the next one? Okay, great. Sherry King.
Is it both of those or one of those?
No, it's just one. It's
One,
okay.
one,
Yes,
one?
you have won the Debbie Reynolds music CD, and I'm going to let Todd go ahead because he's got his glasses on and tell you some of the songs that are on there.
Well,
Sherry
Tammy
King.
is a good one.
Oh, one of my
Moonglow.
favorites.
Love is a Simple Thing, one of my favorites.
Love
That's
is
right.
a thing. That one?
That's
I
the
love
one.
that song.
Abba Dabba. With Carlton Carpenter.
That is the
So
hardest thing
some
to
fun
do.
songs on here. It's a cute little album cover too. I
Yeah,
remember.
I love that. Unopened.
Unopened. Yeah, so you can keep it as a collectible or you can download it. What a lot of people do is they'll, load it into their music thing and then you don't pay any listening fees because you had the CD.
Right. So, Sherry, I'm going to need you to send Ryan your address, and we will get that out to you. And let's go to the next one. Next winner is Spin That Wheel, Kyle. You're doing awesome. I need to see Kyle. I haven't seen him in a long time. I'm going to see him in April. They're coming out here.
Catherine
Ryan.
B.
Catherine B. Congratulations. You have won a copy of Todd's book, My Girls, about his life with Carrie and Debbie. And this book is wonderful. If you already have it, let us know. If not, in fact, let us know now because he'll sign it to you if you would like that. And it's just, I'm not saying this because he's my husband and I am proud of him, but this is truly one of the best books I've ever read.
Oh
And,
my gosh.
well, I can say that if I want to because it's true. This book makes people cry and laugh and go, oh my gosh.
Well, it made
And
me
that's
cry.
I know it did. So I need to have you send your address to catandtoddlive@gmail.com so we can get that out to you. But if you can make a comment right now, if you'd like to sign this for you, or to whoever you'd like to have it signed to, you can also to please sign it. All right, great.
To whom? Or just sign it?
Okay, yes.
Well, I'll need a regular pen for this.
What
'cause
and what name would you like
yeah,
that
a regular
to?
pen's fine. What are we doing?
We're waiting to hear
But
back from her.
She wants your signature.
She just didn't say.
Well,
to
I'll
who.
hold. Does she want it to her or to just sign?
I don't have my seeing eye dogs on. To Kath.
And was
to-
that CATHERINE?
It's CATHERINE. Okay, there you go. What did I do with my glasses? There they are. Okay, so thanks, Catherine, for getting back to us right away. Thank you so much. Okay. Diane Vogt said, amazing book. There you go. Kyle, we're ready to go on to the next one. And he's filming this, so Catherine will have that.
Okay.
There you
got
go.
cut away pretty quick there, but there it is.
Okay.
What do you want to know? Out.
Gina Bashelli, you have won a program to Annie Get Your Gun, which I wish I
With
could
my
have-
mom, not
with Debbie.
Yep.
And this was the theatrical production of Annie Get Your Gun, which I wish I had seen so bad because I love this show so much. I love the lullaby in this. But this is, Gina, this is such a great program because
We have those costumes still.
we do still have all the theater. Oh, there's my guy, Harv Presnell. That was my second crush. Todd Fisher and then Harv Presnell posthumously. And but it's lots of pages of lots of pictures. Oh, I would have loved to have seen this. There's the Debbie sign.
The Debbie letters,
The
big
Debbie
and bold,
letters, big and bold.
which are in the process
That's
of getting
right.
redone.
So it's very. This has more pages than any program I've ever seen.
Well, she made these programs herself, would design them, and then, she didn't want people to get shortchanged,
Yeah.
in their
Oh, I know how
in her
I
program.
believe you
she,
me, I know how it
she'd be
is.
like, I remember the criteria for designing a program for her was that it would be something that she would want. So this is obviously covers Vegas and it covers Irene. It has a lot of, things in it that you would not otherwise get. Like you said, you'd get things that would relate just to that show. You wouldn't get the life story or part of the life story.
Yes.
Because there's her Vegas act in here. There's Irene in here. It's a lot going on.
So Gina, make sure we have your address, and then we're going to go to the Super
This
Wheel
is pretty
now.
cool too. You see this like a montage of her films.
Yes, that's very cool. That's a cool design.
It is.
So if
This
you
is when they used
donated to the show
these-
last year,
just
I mean
interrupting
last
for
week.
a second.
Okay.
The way they used to do these, the artwork on these things, is we're all used to Photoshop and everything, but this was all done cut and paste and white out, and because all these pages were like composited together by cutting things out and drawing things, and then they would be photographed separately to make a composite shot. So these, I have a lot of the original artwork for this. A lot of work would go into building these types of
I
things.
can't even imagine.
Today
because
you can do it
I digitally
so easy.
design, programs, and it's a lot of work. So that is unimaginable to me. Guess what we're doing?
What are we doing?
We're doing the
Super
Super Wheel.
Okay.
So if you donated tonight, thank you so much. You're going to be on next week's Super Wheel. For the people who donated last week, you are on tonight's Super Wheel, and we're about to go to it. And I just want to tell you all, thank you so much. When you donate, when you hit that donate button and you donate, you are really helping us a great deal because, we have legacy projects that we have going on here. And also the cost of the production of the show is not anything small. So we really appreciate you donating. And it also just, we just hope you enjoy the show as much as we do doing it. So it's going to be really fun to see who wins tonight's Super Prize. Now, the Super Prize wheel is separate from the one you just saw. The only names on this wheel are the people who donated last week by pushing the donate button. And one lucky winner will be chosen for tonight's prize. So let's go ahead and go to the wheel, Kyle, and do it. There we go.
I'm going to read something from this book.
Okay. And let's see who it is. Elizabeth Gandy. Elizabeth Gandy. I've met Elizabeth. She came to see me at the Knight Rider event in Atlanta. Hey, it's good to see you.
So this
and
is what
thank
she
you.
has won.
Congratulations. You have just won Unsinkable by Debbie Reynolds. This is the
It's a
last
first edition
autobiography.
hardback.
It's a these are hard to get. It's
These
a
are actually
first
from
edition
her
hardback, and it's from her
stash.
collection.
This
This is a really good prize.
Now I'm going to read something out of here just for fun because there's a forward in this book. I love the back picture.
I
too.
love the whole book.
But Carrie wrote the forward to the book, and it's pretty funny. I'm just going to read the first paragraph. My mother has an amazing memory. She doesn't seem to remember things utterly and all at once. Her recollections could come gradually, or they've been known to come to her intermittently, even late at night and suddenly, maybe on a plane, when entering an elevator, deciding not to exercise, not to go to bed yet, to spend time reading, watching TV, or returning calls, or while eating alone. The bottom line is that she's never quite gotten to the bottom line. In the end, and the end gets farther and farther away. Just when you think you've heard her last word on a subject, a vivid and vast assortment of reflections, you'll find that you've been happily swept up into another anecdote, long forgotten. Hosting memories, anchor embarking on new, long-forgotten cruise, sailing sordid seas on the SS Other Hand. I mean, nobody talks like Carrie, but isn't that a funny way of explaining how my mother wasn't done with the first 700-page book and had to come out with the what if. I think one of the major driving forces to wanting to do this was that she had written glowingly about Richard Hamlet. So the record is set very straight over him.
Right.
And other things here. But I feel, and also I really like Dory Hanaway's voice.
I was just about to bring up the fact that Dory Hanaway wrote
Knew
this
her
book
well.
with your mother, and we were all together for a month in Lake Tahoe. We went on a vacation for Dory and Debbie to start this project. And it was, we had both of our birthdays there because my birthday's on the 11th, yours is on the 24th.
Of this month.
Of this month. And so we spent the month of February in Lake Tahoe. It was the first vacation I think your mom had in decades because it was right after the auction. And the auction was 2011.
It was good because the writing of the book also, she's kind of like you, where she would not be able to justify just chilling. So the idea that she could work on the book when she wanted to and look at the view when she wanted to, and it
was such a great trip. It was just it was a great trip, but it was a bittersweet trip too because Jenny, who was your mom's assistant that went out with her on tour for years and years and was truly a daughter to your mother. I mean, she was like a daughter to your mom, and her back started hurting on that trip. Remember?
Yep.
And then it started hurting really bad, and I'll never forget it because she had to get in bed, and it drove her crazy because she was so driven to make sure Debbie always had everything she needed at any given time. She was absolutely dedicated to your mother and loved your mother, respected your mother. It was a beautiful relationship they had. And they had to actually take her back to Los Angeles in a very careful way because she could never get out of that bed once she got in it, and it turned out that she had cancer, and she, was, and that was a shock, so that was the part of the trip.
It was a shock, and it also
sad.
wasn't a shock because she had smoked her whole life. And for those of you still smoking, let that be a lesson to you. It's not a good idea. My grandfather, on the other hand, he smoked his whole life.
Same with my grandmother. She smoked Camel, no
yeah,
filters,
I mean,
her entire life.
Ray Reynolds, don't forget, was Depression era guy.
Yeah.
I mean, they hadn't invented filters yet.
Yep.
I could just say that some people genetically seem to be able to stave off, but more people succumb to that than not. I mean, the idea of constantly.
Jenny was very young, and so that was.
But she was a cool person and very loyal, as you say. And,
oh gosh, I loved her.
I traveled with her a few different times with the group, and Jenny was always, such an attentive person, and warrants our respect in mentioning her name.
Absolutely, I just
and
loved
loyal
her.
to the end.
Loyal
Unlike others
to
that we know.
the end, exactly, to the literal, and it's very hard to find. It really is.
Yes.
Well, before we go, hey, can you guys pin yourself so everybody can see you? Because this show is not just Todd and I and Seth in here. We have Ryan Clements, we have Kyle Hinton back east, who they do such a great job of producing this show.
It's funny because Kyle looks exactly like you. Oh, there he is.
There's Ryan. Say hi, everybody. Oh, Ryan. Oh, Kyle. So without them, we don't have a show.
Now, earlier you made some mention of we're not doing a claim sale this week, but we're going to be posting a lot of things. Am I wrong about that?
You're correct.
Okay, but we're going to be putting a lot of new stuff up, and we're going to probably run a sale.
On the Debbie Reynolds
Yeah,
Studios
so as some of you know around here, we have been unloading the red Debbie Reynolds trailer into the containers. Prior to that, we had also found a really cool stash. You've seen some of the pictures that we've been trickling in, some of the cool different pieces of artwork. So there'll be a lot of artwork. We just found a little hoard of the Debbie Reynolds Hotel coffee mugs. I don't think you have it in here, but I found stuff from the Tinseltown gift shop at the hotel. Now that's where those mugs came from, but I found these beautiful etched Marilyn Monroe wine glasses, brand new in the box still.
Oh, wow.
So we have several sets of those that are, I don't know if this company's even in business anymore, but they're spectacular. So there's a lot of really fun things that we keep unpacking. It's sort of the endless unearthing. It's like, I feel like more like an archaeologist than I do. I mean, I have the leather coat like Indiana Jones, and I feel like I'm an archaeologist.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, I'm just constantly unearthing things. And also there's a really weird thing. It's like a lot of this stuff, only I know what it is. Now, Seth has actually got a remarkable gift for identifying costumes and certain things. He's got a sharp eye for that. But only I know what was in a house or what was in her dressing room or whatever. Like those DR letters I just pulled, those were from her dressing room in Vegas. And we just found the big DR for the door to her dressing room.
Yep.
And I don't think we have a photo of those. So it's fun to...
Yeah, so poke in and out of the studio.
We're going to put up a bunch of stuff,
Yeah.
or rather Seth is going to while I watch the Super Bowl.
Okay, so I'm looking at Ryan and I'm looking at Kyle. Pin yourselves. You can go to the Apple TV or whatever you have to go to.
No,
to
we go
see
to them. You go to
yeah,
Ryan.
go to them. Because I didn't see enough of you. So you two are coming here in April for Easter, both of you. Are you looking forward to that, Kyle?
We're going to have an Easter egg hunt for you, Kyle.
Oh, we're going to have so much fun. We're going to do some things that are unspeakable.
Have you colored Easter eggs? Because we do a coloring Easter
We're
egg.
going to put Easter eggs in the warehouse for the two of you, and we'll lock you in until you find everyone.
You'll find
We have some cool things for the show coming up.
We do?
What do we have?
Oh, yes. Well, we're taping a lot of cool
Well.
things while they're here.
That's right.
Yeah,
Oh,
we won't talk about it because it's incredible content
Classified
we're gonna do
information?
while they're there. It's
Well,
classified.
it's incredible for certain.
It's not
parties
incredible for
accustomed.
Seth.
Actually, I'm going to tell you an item that's going to go up that we found. So I'm going through a box, and it's a box from backstage. That's where the DR letters came from. And there was literally like different types of medical stuff, like an ace bandage. There were all kinds of different bobby pins and just strange little things in a box. And then there was an old tin. If you remember, Band-Aids used to come in a tin. So there's a little tin about this bag, and a little Band-Aids used to come in this tin. So I opened up the tin, and inside were my mother's Streisand noses that she used in her act. And so we are going to put up on the site one of Debbie's Streisand noses. It's a latex nose. It actually has the original double stick tape inside of the nose. And it was what she traveled with. And there were, I don't know how many, 3 or 4 of them are in there. Obviously, you can't just have one nose. I mean, God forbid you blow your nose, then what do you do for the second one? You got to have a replacement nose. So from the diaphragm to the chest, through the nose. By the time I got it through the nose, I forgot the words. She loved her Streisand impression. So I mean, I'm going to put.
That's a big find.
It's a big find, and to find more than one, because if I just find 1 or 2, then I can't do anything. I can't share, and I hate to be a hog. So sometimes when I find a stash like that, it's exciting. I gave half a thought to giving it to Seth, and then I thought better because he's already doesn't need any further encouragement whatsoever, and since he is already, his pronouns are Debbie Reynolds.
That's right, Debbie/Reynolds.
Debbie/Reynolds. So he's already gone way beyond.
You've already transformed me.
I'm nothing to do
through
with
osmosis.
It. Okay, the osmosis thing, like Carrie turning men gay, I turned men into my mother.
Yes.
Okay.
No, you were gone long before I met you.
All right, so you two are coming out in April for Easter. I'm going back to Pennsylvania with you because I'll be performing in Annville, where you both are, on April 26th. So I just want to say one more time, if you're curious about a hypnosis show, if you've never seen one, even if you have, please come see mine because we're all going to be there, and it's going to be really fun. April 26th in Annville, Pennsylvania. Go to katherinehickland.com for ticket information. The tickets are very inexpensive, and it's all really exciting because it's for the Four Diamonds Fund, and we're going to just have a giant party on that stage. That's all I have to say. So, with all that, I want to bid you adieu and a good night.
You know, if we
Thank
stretch
you.
another 10, we can make the full 2 hours.
I know, it's just so ridiculous. It just is like we just sit around, and it's a bunch of us just all sitting around and having fun with you. That's true. So good night, everybody. Happy Saturday. Have a great weekend and get some good, blessed rest tonight.
By the way, Roy Wagner is watching. He's been sending me notes. And Roy, it's not that I'm not paying attention to you. Like one of his notes was to rotate the camera behind me.
Yeah.
I'd love to get up and do that, but I didn't get to it. But he does have great notes.
Well, he has the most amazing eyes. He's one of the best cinematographers in Hollywood.
He is.
Yeah, so there you go. We love you. That's all I have to say. And remember.
I thought you said that was all you have to say.
That's all I have to say. Remember, if you like our channel,
No.
like and subscribe it. That's it. I'm done. Zip.
When you say that's all I have to say, then that has to be
Okay, so
it.
now you say good night.
No, that's all I have to
Seth,
say.
you say good night. Good night. I'm going to go play with my friend Patrick, who just walked through the door a little while ago. We never see each other anymore. It's
The list of our credits, technically, of our donors.
Please
I'm
stay
ready.
and watch the credits, because if you were a donator tonight, you'll love the crawl. And let's crawl it super
Roll it.
slow. Super slow. And let's do it. How come the sound is...
Tammy's in love. The old hooty owl, hooty hoos through the dell. Tammy, Tammy's in love. Does my lover feel what I feel when he comes near? My heart beats so joyfully.